Hey everybody, this is Robby Melvin. Welcome to the first Southern Living Facebook Live cooking demonstration. What we're going to talk about today is the finer points of making biscuits. Now, we've been through the art of freezing your butter and grating it so you get those beautiful little flakes of butter in your flour. Today we're going to talk about how important it is to add the buttermilk properly, stir properly, not overworking your flour or your dough once it hits the table. We're going to go through the cutting process and, of course, the baking and seeing these amazing results as they come right out of the oven. So we're going to get right into this. I have here my flour, White Lily self-rising flour that has got our beautiful pieces of grated butter all worked in there to it. I'm going to add some cold buttermilk after I make a tiny well in the center of my flour. All right? Get all this buttermilk out of there. Now, the key to this is the stirring. You don't want to overwork it. You don't want to really get in there and go too hard. You want to stir it 15 times. We came up with this 15 times by testing these recipes over and over, finding the perfect amount of times of stirring it is to get the buttermilk properly incorporated and to not overwork your dough mixture here. Now, if you can check this out, you can see where it's starting to kind of come together. Now, it's going to be sticky because we've got just the perfect amount of buttermilk. It's not too wet, not too dry. It's 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now you see here we have this real sticky biscuit dough. Always going to kind of lightly flour your hands and lightly flour your surface. Now this is where it really gets important here to not overwork your dough. We're going to gently roll this out. We kind of form it into a very loose mound of dough. Okay, I'm just barely touching it, letting the dough kind of work itself. All right, we're going to take our rolling pin. You want to lightly flour your rolling pin because remember, this dough is a little sticky. We're going to hit the dough with a little bit of flour on top. We're going to lightly flour this rolling pin. And we're not going to push down so much as we're going to let the weight of the pin do the work for us. We're going to roll this out into a 9 by 5 rectangle. Okay? Gently rolling. I'm going to try to keep about a 1/2 inch thickness. Now, instead of kneading, we're going to gently fold this over. Like so. One more time, 9 inch by 5 inches. Gently rolling, adding a little flour if it gets a little sticky. And you want that stickiness. That's that buttermilk doing its thing, keeping it nice and moist. All right. Now you can take out a ruler and measure till you get this down by, just so you can sort of eye it and keep that perfect length and width. And you want to fold this dough over like you see me doing there. I'm going to get in tight and check this out. You want to fold it over 4 times and roll it. Each of those times you fold it. Now you see I'm just barely kind of guiding the pen, not putting any excess force or weight on it to roll this dough out. And let the dough kind of work itself in that sense. Again, is to not overwork it. What we're building here is layers. Turn, add a little more flour so your pen doesn't stick. Always kind of shape it with your hands just a bit. You're going to roll again. And making sure 9 by 5. That's going to provide you the perfect thickness of your biscuit. Not going to get it too spread out, so it's not going to be too thin. Very gentle process. Now this is where all the real work comes in to get those amazing layers. Nice and flaky. All right. Now, we're going to have the cutting part of our biscuits, okay? Now, one thing about cutting a biscuit that you want to keep in mind is that you want to always not twist, okay? You don't want to twist when you are cutting these biscuits. If you twist, what's going to happen there is you're going to seal off all these beautiful layers that you've been working to achieve by folding, okay? You would have a cutter right here. You're going to line a sheet pan with parchment paper, and you're going to cut. You're going to gently press down, like so. And if you want to check this out, you're just barely going to shake it loose and shake it out into your hand. You can see you've got the layers. You're going to lightly flour your cutter. And you see there, these great layers. That's what you're working for. Now, the wrong way to do this is to press in, and then you twist it. What you're doing there is you're sealing off those layers. So when that hot air hits it, nothing is going to be able to penetrate it to give it that lift, to give it that fluff, okay? We're going to keep that one to the side. Yeah, see? Beautiful. And it's important that everything is cold. You know, we grate our frozen butter into our flour, toss it, and refrigerate it for 10 minutes. Our 1 cup of buttermilk is also cold. Now, you want to keep everything cold. It's much easier to work with. Your butter is going to stay incorporated evenly and not begin to melt within your flour. You want it super cold and work it super gently so you don't overwork it. All those things are working together to give you a light and fluffy biscuit. Now, if your butter is room temp and your buttermilk is not super cold, you're going to have a hard time working with this, and you're probably going to be forced to overwork your dough, which is the last thing you want to do when making biscuits. It's very important to re-roll your scraps here. You're going to gently push these together. You get a lot of good product right here. Gently. Do just like you did when you came out of the bowl.
Hey, Robby.
Yes.
We have a question from Facebook.
Right on. What you got?
How many times can you re-roll your scraps?
Obviously, you get at least 2 good re-rolls. Okay, this is the first one right here. This is the first re-roll. And I'm going to get probably 2 to at least probably 3 biscuits out of this. And you want to gently shape it one more time and then see what you can get. You'll get at least 2 re-rolls. See here I've got 1, 2, 3 biscuits out of the first re-roll, which is great. And you want to again gently push this together. Same exact process as before. You want to roll it out. And a lot less to work with, but you still want to be gentle because you've already been working this dough quite a bit. So with your re-rolls, you really want to have an extra light hand. And that last one, you kind of have some fun with it. Sort of free form it. You can sort of make a nice, what my grandmother would call a cat head biscuit with your hand. Or you can go ahead and go through the process. Gentle little roll. And there you go. And this nice little piece here extra. Always like kind of take that and have this perfectly kind of lumpy biscuit there. Okay, we're ready to go to the oven with these. Now, you see, you want to keep these not so much up against each other, but not too far apart either. Just like this on your parchment-lined sheet pan. We're going to go to the oven. Now, it's important to have your oven preheated and super hot at 475 degrees. When these biscuits hit the oven, you want them to immediately start cooking. You want the butter, the flour, everything to immediately react to this really high temperature. That's going to give you the good lift. They're going to begin to get nice and golden brown. So we're going to go ahead and get these in. Okay, biscuits are going to cook for about 15 minutes. Always want to set a timer on that. You don't want them to go too long. I'm going to wash up real quick. And we're going to have nice, fresh biscuits. We always like to finish our biscuits by brushing them with a little melted butter. That's going to give them just a little extra savoriness, kind of re-crisp that top. And of course, butter tastes good too. Add a little extra flavor. Now, already have a nice batch cooking in here. We're going to check them out, see exactly what we've been talking about. Oh yeah. You see, you have this beautiful, perfectly golden brown, nice and hot. As you can see, those layers that you work so hard by not working too hard on the table with your dough. All right. Take these and brush them with a little bit of butter. Just kind of gives them that nice glistening top. And of course the great flavor of butter. We like to use a Land O'Lakes salted butter because that gives it just that little bit of seasoning that we need. All right, and that is our very simple, delicious, tested, proven to be fantastic favorite buttermilk biscuit recipe.